So I'm back on YouTube, and it's good to be back. It's good to be back to trying to do a regular content schedule. I'd like to say thank you to all the people who continued commenting and continued liking all the videos and subscribing despite the fact I haven't posted anything in months, and that's going to be rectified. So I'd like to start with a 25-part series on alternate picking to put all the ideas and some of the new things I've been playing about with into one structured place which people can follow through in a way that's actually going to help them. Because I feel like a lot of my previous videos have been a bit scatty and they don't necessarily get people to do things in the right way, in the right order. So with this first video, I want you to experiment with a very, very simple concept, and that is trying not to have the string resist the pick on a lot of the motions that you're making with the picking hand. So how do we do that? First off, take the pick, put it on the pick guard or on any flat surface and try and move it back and forth as fast as you can. Now you'll notice two things about this motion. One of which is that it doesn't require any tension or force. I can do this for hours and it's not going to fatigue my hands. It's not going to cause me tendinitis or any of these problems. And the second thing is that I can immediately do that at 200 BPM. And I'm almost 100% certain that most of the viewers on this video can also do it at the same sort of tempo. It's incredibly fast, immediately out of the gate. And that's sort of what we expect out of good picking technique. You shouldn't have to work on these things slowly, incrementally over time. That's not how it works. You should have a ceiling which is almost immediate to your speed if the technique is correct. And that ceiling should be pretty high. It should be in the 180, 200 BPM range for most people. Age doesn't really play a factor here or anything like that. Most people can get this up to speed if they actually put in the work. So that is very, very easy to do. What the problem is when you get the string involved and it's in the way, suddenly you have to apply a bunch of force and change that technique massively for no reason to try and force the string out of the way. But the same thing applies. If you try and take the pick and to the best of your ability, point it towards the headstock so it's almost flat to the strings, and do exactly the same thing on one string. So we get this. It sounds a little bit scratchy for now. The tone's not fantastic, but you can see immediately that that's incredibly fast. I'm doing exactly the same thing. It's literally just this, holding the pick in the same way that we normally do, and then just trying to point it as far towards the headstock as possible so it's not perpendicular, it's more almost parallel with the strings, so I get this kind of thing. That's it. Very, very simple. If you try that, you will be amazed at how quickly you can get that up to speed, how fast you can pick on one string using that. It's not going to sound amazing. It's not going to sound like you've got amazing tone, but it is going to get you to speed very quickly, and it is going to get you to learn that you don't need a ton of force to put the pick through the string. So then the next thing is, well, what happens if I try and play some things that I know how to do? Let's say we just take a basic pentatonic and you try pointing the pick all the way towards the headstock and playing it like this. Very, very simple, just up and down a scale. And again, what you should find is that that feels effortless. It almost feels like you're playing air guitar, and you'll almost lose control of the rhythms of it because you're used to a lot of the feel of the resistance of the strings, which is no longer there. But the point is, again, if I take any four notes still out of that, if I do something like this, and all I'm going to do is just try and point that pick towards the headstock as much as I can. So I'm probably here looking at my hand. If dead on perpendicular, like so, was 90 degrees, I've probably come all the way down to about 40 degrees this way, and I'm pointing that pick up towards the headstock. And it's already fast. It's already, getting to a point where I can play some very, very difficult passages quite easily with that. You can do the same thing with 3-note per string system stuff, so you can try and do And again, just trying to point the pick towards the headstock. That's all I'm trying to do. When you completely get rid of the resistance of the string and you are just brushing over the top of it, you are not forcing the issue. There is no tension in the hand, there is no tension in the pick grip to do that. I can make those motions incredibly lightly. And again, you can try and sort of test the absolute ridiculous nature of this by trying to do it as light as possible, just trying to make the motions really, really relaxed, and you'll still brush over the top of the string. Even if I try and make this to the point where I can't really feel myself moving, I can still feel that pick gliding over the string, and you can still hear it. It's very, very quiet. There's no force being used there. So that is the sort of precursor to everything I want to talk about. And I know there's going to be a lot of comments on where it doesn't sound good. It's not meant to sound good at this point. You can always make it sound good later, but it's harder to start with a bunch of tension in the technique and doing everything wrong and somehow turn that into something that works really well than it is to start from the most relaxed possible part of your technique you can get and then make adjustments from there. And that's the real key to a lot of this stuff, is start with the things that are fundamentally mechanically easy, and then when you put in some of the adjustments, that foundation is there to stop you from being an idiot and tensing up too much and ripping through the string in a way that doesn't really help and doesn't actually sound good at all. So in the next session of this, in the next video, I'm going to be talking about how you can apply this to exercises, what exercises I think are the best, and all of these kind of things, as well as how to adjust that a little bit just to make it sound a little bit better. So if that's something you're interested in and you like the idea of the series, let me know. Also, make sure that you subscribe if you're not already subscribed to this, and I will catch you in the next one.